There's something I've realized after years of watching how people earn money, spend money, and try to save. Most financial problems don't start with low income. They start with very small decisions that people don't even recognize as decisions. Most people think they just need to make more money to feel secure. But here's the interesting part. Even when income goes up, that feeling of not enough often doesn't go away. I've met people who earn a very average income and sleep peacefully at night. And I've met others who make 3 times as much, but carry a constant quiet stress. The difference isn't the number. The difference is how they relate to money. I realized money isn't just a tool for transactions. It's a mirror. It reflects how much control you feel, how clear you are, and how honest you're willing to be with yourself. Most people don't realize they're not really spending money on things. They're spending money to regulate emotions. Tired, order food, bored, go shopping, anxious, upgrade something to feel like you're moving forward. The problem isn't the action itself. The problem is that it happens automatically. When a financial decision becomes an emotional reflex, you slowly lose control. And the most dangerous part isn't that you spend a lot. It's that you spend without knowing why. In this video, I want to offer a different perspective. Not saving hacks, not a formula for getting rich, but observations about money psychology, the subtle forces that quietly determine whether you feel secure or insecure, stable or unstable, no matter how much you make. Main point 1. You don't lack money. You lack clear boundaries. I've noticed that many people say, I just can't hold on to money. But when you look closer, they've never actually set clear boundaries around it. They have vague goals. They want to save, but they don't have defined limits. Here's a simple everyday example. Someone walks into a grocery store thinking, I'll just buy what I need. Sounds reasonable, but what does what I need actually mean? No one knows. And when there's no specific number, your brain defaults to feelings instead of plans. Something's on sale? Add it. Something looks new? Try it. A little hungry? Grab one more thing. No one intends to ruin their budget. There's just no clear stopping line. Interestingly, people who consistently keep their money aren't necessarily frugal. They just have defined limits. That they know how much they'll spend eating out this month, how much goes toward entertainment, how much must stay untouched before anything else happens. Boundaries don't restrict you. They reduce decision fatigue. Most people don't realize financial exhaustion doesn't come from having too little money. It comes from making constant decisions without a framework. When you have boundaries, you don't wrestle with yourself every time you want to buy something. You simply check the limit. And that creates a sense of control. And that sense of control, not your bank balance, is what truly brings calm around money. Main point 2. You spend according to emotional rhythm, not income rhythm. I've noticed something unusual when looking at people's bank statements. Their income arrives monthly, but their emotions fluctuate daily. And money tends to move with emotion, not payroll cycles. Most people don't realize they spend the most on emotionally unstable days. After a stressful workday, self-control drops. After an argument, clicking buy now feels easier. After achieving something small, there's often a desire to reward yourself. There's nothing wrong with rewarding yourself. But when rewards become emotional regulation, spending loses logic. Interestingly, financially stable people aren't emotionless. They just don't let emotions determine timing. They create a buffer between feeling and action. I once saw someone follow a very simple rule. Never buy anything on a day when emotions are intense. No deep analysis, just wait. The next day, once emotions settle, 90% of what felt urgent suddenly isn't. Most people think the issue is willpower. But willpower isn't unlimited. When you're tired, hungry, stressed, or sleep deprived, your brain looks for the fastest way to feel better. And spending is one of the fastest ways. If you don't design protection for your weakest moments, you'll keep blaming yourself for lacking discipline. When the issue isn't discipline, it's not understanding your emotional rhythm. Once you recognize when you're most vulnerable to spending, you can adjust your environment. Don't scroll shopping apps late at night. Don't carry your card on walks if you tend to impulse buy. Don't make upgrade decisions after a terrible day. That's not extreme control. That's understanding how you operate. Sustainable wealth doesn't come from never fluctuating. It comes from designing your life so fluctuations cause minimal damage. Money isn't usually lost in big plans. It leaks on unstable days. And when you regulate emotional rhythm, you regulate financial rhythm. Main point 3. You don't lack motivation, you lack sustainable structure. I've noticed something very common. When people first get serious about money, they start strong. Spreadsheets, categories, savings, targets, budgeting apps. Week 1 feels exciting. Week 2 feels slightly annoying. Week 3, they quit. Most people don't fail because they lack commitment. They fail because the system is too complex for their real-life energy. We underestimate accumulated fatigue, a long workday, unfinished personal tasks, mental stress. In that state, opening a budget spreadsheet and categorizing tiny expenses feels heavy. And when a habit feels heavy, you avoid it. Interestingly, people who maintain financial habits long-term usually use very simple systems, not because they aren't smart, but because they understand one principle. If something requires high energy to maintain, it won't last. I once saw someone use just one rule. Every time income comes in, automatically move a fixed percentage into a separate account. No thinking, no negotiation. What remains is what they live on. No obsessing over every coffee, no analyzing every dollar, and yet savings grew steadily. Most people believe being good with money means controlling everything. In reality, over-controlling drains you. Good structure isn't the tightest structure, it's the one you can repeat on an average day. When money is handled through predefined decisions, you free up mental space for more important things. And more importantly, you stop feeling like you're fighting money every day. Money becomes part of your system, not a daily internal battle. Here is your translation in natural American spoken style: calm, thoughtful, psychologically grounded, and conversational. Main point 4. The feeling of moving forward matters more than the amount of money you have. I've realized something subtle. A lot of people don't quit their financial plans because of a major crisis. They quit because they no longer feel like they're making progress. The balance goes up slowly. Life looks the same. Nothing feels dramatically different. And the brain starts whispering, "What's the point of this?" Most people don't realize the brain isn't good at waiting for distant rewards. It needs signals that effort is paying off. When you work out, you can see your body change. When you learn a skill, you can feel yourself improving. But with money, the change is quiet. You save a few $1,000s. No one notices. No one congratulates you. Your day-to-day life doesn't look very different. Without clear feedback, motivation fades. I once observed someone who was extremely disciplined about saving, but after a few months he started spending again, not because he ran out of money, but because everything felt too slow. Interestingly, he later changed how he tracked progress. Instead of focusing only on the total number, he broke his goal into smaller milestones. Every time he hit one, he acknowledged it as real progress. No big celebration, no expensive reward, just a simple recognition. I'm on the right track. And that completely changed how he felt internally. I realized money isn't just math. It's psychology around progress. If you don't see yourself moving forward, you'll look for that feeling somewhere else. Upgrade your phone. Buy something new. Change your appearance to feel like you're growing. Not because you're shallow, but because your brain needs evidence of advancement. When you design your financial system with clear milestones, you give your brain what it needs: a reason to continue. And if you continue long enough, small progress compounds into meaningful change. Main point 5. Comparison doesn't make you poor. It makes you spend at the wrong time. I've realized that most bad spending decisions don't happen when someone truly needs something. They happen right after seeing someone else have it. Most people don't realize comparison rarely makes you spend more overall. It makes you spend when you're most vulnerable. You're doing fine. Everything is under control. Then you scroll. Friends traveling, someone buying a new car, someone your age who seems further ahead, and a small feeling appears. Not obvious jealousy, more like a subtle urge to catch up. Interestingly, when you're alone, you don't feel the need to upgrade anything. But when you place yourself next to other people's highlights, your standards shift. I once watched someone who was completely satisfied with his apartment until he started reconnecting with old friends who were more financially successful. A few months later, he moved, not because his old place was bad, but because he felt like he was standing still. Most people don't realize comparison triggers fear of falling behind, and fear speeds up decisions. You stop evaluating based on your personal timeline. You start evaluating based on relative position. The issue isn't seeing other people succeed. The issue is letting their success adjust your financial timing. Some purchases aren't wrong. They're just mistimed. Someone might fully afford to upgrade their car in 2 years, but when comparison pushes them to do it now, they trade stability for a temporary feeling. I've noticed that people who build wealth sustainably have a strange habit. They allow others to move ahead without rushing. They don't treat every success they see as a signal to react. They understand money has its own rhythm, and if you force that rhythm because of social pressure, you'll always feel like you're chasing. When you stop comparing positions and focus on your own trajectory, decisions become calmer. And calmer decisions help money stay longer. Main point 6. The feeling of, I deserve this, is one of the fastest ways money leaves. I've realized something people rarely say out loud. Many spending decisions don't come from need. They don't even come from comparison. They come from a familiar thought. I deserve this. After a long, exhausting week, after finishing a big project, after pushing through a hard season, that feeling shows up. And to be fair, it makes sense. The issue isn't rewarding yourself. The issue is how you define the reward. Most people don't realize they use money as the fastest way to validate their worth. An expensive dinner to feel successful. A new item to feel upgraded. A large purchase to mark a milestone. But when rewards are always tied to spending, you unintentionally train your brain to equate self-worth with consumption. I once observed someone with a solid income who constantly felt financially tight. Every time he achieved something, he upgraded something. First the phone, then the car, then his living space. Each upgrade had a reasonable explanation, but collectively it created a cycle. Work hard, achieve, spend big, return to pressure. Interestingly, when he changed how he rewarded himself, everything shifted. Instead of using money as the reward, he used money to protect the achievement. Hit a goal, increase savings rate slightly, reach a new income milestone, strengthen the emergency fund before upgrading anything. It doesn't sound exciting, but it creates a very different internal feeling, the feeling of building, not just consuming. Most people don't realize long-term stability creates deeper confidence than any new purchase ever could. When you start attaching the feeling of deserving to strengthening your foundation instead of expanding your lifestyle, money begins to stay. Not because you're living small, but because you no longer need to prove anything through your receipts. And that's when wealthy behavior truly begins. After years of observing financial behavior across different income levels, I've come to a simple realization. Money doesn't leave because you're not smart. It leaves because you don't yet understand how you operate. You lack clear boundaries. You let emotions decide timing. You build systems that are too complex and then abandon them. You chase the feeling of progress through purchases. You react to comparison. You use spending to validate yourself. None of that makes you bad. It just makes you human. The difference between someone who stays stuck financially and someone who gradually becomes stable isn't secret financial knowledge. It's honesty. Are you willing to look at how you spend when you're tired? Are you willing to admit how easily you're influenced? Are you willing to simplify instead of trying to control everything? I've noticed that when someone starts understanding the motives behind their financial decisions, they become calmer. And when you're calm, you stop fighting money. You start adjusting. Clearer boundaries, more space between emotion and action, simpler systems, a different definition of success. Wealthy behavior isn't loud. It happens in small decisions repeated daily. If you see yourself in this, that's a good thing. Because awareness is the first step. Don't try to fix everything at once. Pick one idea from this video. Adjust it first. Observe yourself for a few weeks. You'll start noticing money responds differently. If this resonated with you, hit like so I know this topic matters to you. And subscribe if you want to understand money psychology and wealth behavior on a deeper level, calmly, practically, without hype. We'll keep observing, adjusting, and building step by step.